All right, everyone. Well, let me switch this. Like I said, all right, everyone. It's the Grim Lord here, and this is Grimm's Comics Corner. I promised you some Halloween. I promised you some horror comics. We don't even have to use Halloween anymore. It's fucking November. We're about to have the turkey. Anyway, I promised you horror comics, and you're getting horror comics. So every Sunday, Sunday we'll do the horror comics, and Monday I give you the Power Rangers. Does that work? Yeah. All right. I thought it would. Okay, so here we go. Eerie number 4. We haven't done Eerie in a long time, guys. Last time we did Eerie was 2023. So it's almost 2025, and we're just now getting back to Eerie. And we're still in volume 1 of Eerie, which I have several volumes of, so we have a lot of comics to cover. And by the way, we definitely got to thank, I'm not sure if it's Dark Horse. I think it's Dark Horse. Dark Horse for bringing these back into publication, because they're great classic horror stories that you just don't see anymore these days. I mean, they're trying to bring some of them back, but I just don't think you can get the classic kind of 1950s, 60s sensibility that these books had. So, at any rate, let's get started. Eerie number 4. A strange, lurking horror haunts the island at World's End. Here's the latest in our shrieking series of monstrous masterpieces. Dust off a spot on the wall of your tomb and get ready to hang this entry in Eerie's Monster Gallery. Making sure we're recording. Number 3, Zombies, a throb of drums from far-off hills, the sharp cry of a soul bird. Doors are barred and simple men draw close about their lamps. Now through moon-drenched fields a dreadful company moves. Dead bodies given dim and soulless life by voodoo cult priests through unlawful necromancy, and set to toil in nighted cane breaks. Do not know what that is. Only when fed salt can these slave creatures find peace from their taskmasters. Is that how we defeat the zombies? Somebody needs to go tell the Kirk, whatever that guy's name is. Salt, man. That's what they needed to do. They needed to feed them salt. That's how you win The Walking Dead like that. It was all about salt. That, they do it in the 1950s. Okay, so let's get started. Ooh, we got more from Frank Frazetta here. Steve Ditko. Spider-Man. Alex Toth. Great classic artist, guys. One of a kind. Never going to be anything like them. People can emulate them, but they'll never be like them. We're not going to go through Dear Cousin Eerie unless there's anything really cool. Oh, Blazing Combat. Yep. They did that for a lot of the guys out there. I think it was Vietnam. Let's see. Haunting for some eerie excitement, merry monsters. I know just the spot. A demoniac dwelling of disgusting decay. The very place you kiddies have been looking for. Of course I should warn you, some people call this the House of Evil. This is as far as I go. You'll have to walk the rest of the way. Look here. My brother lives there. He's expecting me. I'll pay. Mister, ain't nobody in this country'd go near that place. Warned the other fellow when I brung him out, and I'm warning you. Lee Hargraves was annoyed by the winding dusty road, the heat of the late afternoon sun, the superstitious drivel of backcountry natives, and annoyed by the irresponsibility of a younger brother who was constantly calling for help. Lord, what a horror! How does he get involved in things like this? Still, his telegram sounded urgent. Richard! Hey, Richard! Big Brother's here to bail you out again! Hey! Crash! What the devil? Something's wrong here. Should have realized it when Richard didn't meet me in town. I'll find out what it is. Right now! A musty odor of fetid decay made Hargraves wince as he pushed through cobwebs to the moss-coated interior of the ancient structure. Young fool! Fancies himself a Poe or Lovecraft. Wants to write in an atmosphere like this. Over rotting, creaking timbers, he moved through room after decaying room, disgusted, fascinated, and somewhat uneasy. Muck is all over everything. Richard! Where are you, boy? Richard! Grrrr! Hardly had the sound faded than it became impossible to believe so horrible a thing could be heard and still be sane. Must be the wind. Only the wind, or an animal. Wild animal in the woods. Blasted old house. Hargraves moved on, now shouting, now whispering through moss-encrusted corridors, sometimes slipping, stumbling, touching the damp rot with a shiver. His study doesn't seem to have been used in a while. Decay's setting in here, too. Recorder I gave him last birthday. Tape still on it. Wonder if rot's got in the batteries. June 30th. Settled at last. The house is everything I'd hope. Rich in legend and lore. Fascinating and horrible. Richard! Built in the 1970s by the Japes family, a barbarous clan of maniacs who pillaged the countryside, committing unspeakable acts on neighbors and unsuspecting travelers. For nearly half a century, they inbred and flourished, becoming a spawn of devil worshippers and practitioners of malignant and unholy rites. Not until 1848 did an outraged populace send the militia upon them, destroying every living Japes, but the house, intended to be burned to the ground, was spared. A fearful, almost unnatural rainstorm prevented the action. The house of evil was boarded up and left standing. Some say the Japes dead were left inside, left to dissolve into the very decay-ridden timbers of the house itself. Hargraves turned off the recorder. His hand trembled. Without realizing it had grown dark. Why does Richard dwell on such drivel? God, I wish there were lights in this place. Almost involuntarily, his finger punched the play button. Again, Richard was speaking, no longer carefree, voice tighter, choked. July 3rd. This was a mistake. There's evil in this house. The Japes have lost their hold. A noise. Downstairs, something moving. Closer. Getting closer. The recorder. It can hear the damn tape. Their horror lurks. Waiting. Stalking. Closer. Closer to its prey. Click. The burning eyes of the nightmare creature searched the darkness, at last finding Hargraves. He felt himself going mad. Yeah! Crumbling and fetid, it slithered, stumbled forward. Hargraves was still screaming as he seized the only thing close at hand. Like a man in a nightmare, Hargraves cried and shouted, pummeled and kicked, smashing, stomping, destroying. Splop! My brother, Richard, you killed my brother, my... Exhaustion brought an end. A black bubbling smear stretched before him, the hint of a head within it, the dying coals of flame eyes. Somewhere the recorder talked on Richard's voice, now rasping, croaking. Brother! July 7th, the end is near, my voice is going. I am afraid to look in a mirror. The Japes are dead, but their evil continues, destroying all who touch their cursed house. Lee won't get here in time. Must stop him, scare him away. Mustn't let it get him like it did me. Gotta stop him before. The time for screaming was past. Hargraves stared out at the oozing black slime, which was once his brother, stared out past the hands that killed him. Already, bits of mold and fungus were beginning to form before the rot of their evil consumes him, as it did this house and everything to come in contact with it. That's what we like, eh, kiddies? An ending that grows on you. Oh well, enough of this rot. Mold your mind with the next bit of gore in store. Mummy's Chariot. 98 cents. Wolfman's Wolf Wagon. Well, I'll be. I mean, that's kind of neat, right? Dracula's Dragster. Haha, that's kind of neat. And Frankenstein's Flivver. Okay, that's pretty cool. Is that what Rob Zombie meant by these Dragula? I don't know. Dracula's dragster? Human skull, unbelievably real. Monster hands, Santa never saw claws like these. Human skeleton, is that what we look inside? Your own monster fly. Mad Doctor hypodermic needle. Monster foot. Gruesome skull cup. Giant 10-foot rubber snake. Horrible Herman dares you to look in the box. Dracula's own rubber bat. So real it might even scare you. Let you draw any person in 1 minute. No talent, no lessons. Yes, anyone can draw or sketch or paint anything now. The very first time you use the magic art reproducer like a professional artist, no matter how hopeless you think you are, you can have an accurate original drawing that anyone would think an artist had done. Use it on any desk, table, board, etc. Indoors or outdoors. Have fun. Be popular. Everyone will ask you to draw them. After a short time, you may find you can draw well without the magic art reproducer because you've developed a knack and feeling artists have, which may lead to a good paying art career. Well, I'll be. I wonder how many artists actually went and bought that kit and actually learned their skill from it. Human figures, outdoor scenes, landscapes, buildings, still life, vases, bowls of fruit. Yes, I have drawn bowls of fruit. They're not exactly fun. I didn't think so. Flowers, lamps, and furniture. Copy photos, other pictures, comics, maps, and blueprints. Copy fashion designs, all other designs and decorations. Well, isn't that kind of neat? Prologue. Somewhere in the city, a doorbell sounds. Bzzzt. Never fails whenever I start washing my hair. Who is it? Telegram? Couldn't you have just slid it under the door? Has to be signed for. Click. Oh, for heaven's sake. Now where do I have to... Yay! Time to hack your way to another slice of horror, merry maniacs. Step close to the grindstone as I sharpen the shivers and introduce you to the Hatchet Man. Ooh, I like him. Wonk, wonk, swish. Harry did it. Stop him before he kills more. That maniac's still on the loose. Chopped a woman to bits last night, only a few blocks from here. This is the only shirt I can wear to work. I thought you were going to iron some. Don't bother me, Harvey. Police think he's some kind of split personality nut, always leaving notes in blood saying Harry did it. Didn't sew any buttons on here like you said you would. That woman's husband worked at night, like you, Harvey. Same thing could have happened to me. Forgot to make sandwiches again, Phyllis. Don't know why I bothered to carry a lunch pail. Man can't even get sandwiches made. Why couldn't you have a decent job like your brother in Seattle instead of being just a watchman? Then I might be safe from maniacs like this. Good night, Phyllis. 10 years of this. 10 years. Wish someone would take a hatchet to that woman. Why not? Why shouldn't the maniac kill her? Wouldn't be hard at all to arrange. Not at all. Nobody checks on me here. Once I punch in, I could leave without being noticed. People think I was making my rounds. Newspapers give you all the details about how he works. Just the gloves, sir? Like them gift wrapped? Police will never suspect it wasn't him. A fine hatchet, sir. You'll get a lot of good use out of it. Yeah, I'll bet he will. I'll be rid of Phyllis and the hatchet killer will be blamed. Perfect. Harvey, that you? Why aren't you at work? Yes, dear, it's only me. Swoosh! Ah, one really does it. But I better give her a few more, just to make it look good. Now, the writing on the wall. Then out of here before the neighbors break in. So much for this. As for the gloves, part of my duties are to check on the furnace anyway. Ha! Looks like the hatchet maniac's gonna get credit for one he never dreamed about. They can never pin it on me. Ah! They've found her. Now to play the bereaved husband. My God! What's going on here? You Harvey Whitaker? Last night someone got in here, carved up your wife with a hatchet. Oh, Lord, it must have been that maniac, that hatchet killer from the newspaper. That's how we figure it, Mr. Whitaker. The maniac did it. Same one that's chopped up all the others. You're the hatchet killer, Whitaker. You're crazy. I'm not. We found these hidden in a closet. Excuse me, we'll try that one again, guys. We found these hidden in a suitcase in your closet. Bloodstains check out with several of the victims. Impossible. I got rid of them. No! Something you want to tell us, Mr. Whitaker? I killed Phyllis, but the others, someone else did that. The maniac, hatchet killer, someone else did that. All those women, someone else did it. Harry, that's the one. Harry the killer, maniac, he did it. Should be stopped before he kills more. More women, hacked, chopped, likes to kill. Kill them all, not afraid. Not like Harvey Whitaker, afraid of Phyllis. I'll kill them all. Show that pipsqueak how it should be done. Me, Harry, I'll kill them all. Harvey tried to write on the wall, give me away, but I showed him how. Kill them all. Kill them all. All right, take him away. Poor Harvey. One half his brain didn't know what the other was doing. His personality was more split up than his victims. Now you'd better hurry on to the next Scream story. Low-cost electric projector, tarantula. Dinosaurs, cavemen, and monster brought back to life. The deadly mantis, the giant claw, the creature from the lagoon. Creature walks among us. The cabinet of Dr. Caligari, the weirdest, eeriest movie ever made. Curse of the Demon, Rodan the Flying Monster, Battle of the Giants, Varon the Unbelievable, and Killer Gorilla. Ever heard of ratsbane? It's rat poison, stuff you use when rats bane getting the upper hand. But it can't always be counted on, as Dr. Hahn and his assistant, Dr. Wheeler, discover when they try to conquer their gnawing fear. Ready for the specimen. Squirm, you nasty bugger, you're trapped. Squee! Squee! There. By morning he'll be as dead as the others, and my formula will be a proven success. Elated, the old doctor ushered Wheeler into the den. Hope you're right, sir. Smart little devils are getting harder and harder to capture. That we'll see, said Edward. This is the latest formula is the ultimate rat poison. It won't just attract and destroy some rats. This will annihilate them from the face of the earth. You've been an immense help to me these past months. Sometimes I think you hate them as much as I do, Edward. I find them most repulsive, sir. Repulsive? They're disgusting and deadly. The bite of one killed my wife 4 years ago. I swore then I'd find the formula to rid the world of them. This old rat trap of a house has provided me with an abundance of specimens, enabled me to perfect a poison before it's too late. Too late? Edward, I believe rats are organizing to replace man as Earth's dominant species. We must stop them before they strike. Sir, you cannot be serious. I can. They outnumber us, killed millions, spread plagues, disease, attack our children, infest our food and water. Wine and conversation made the old doctor drowsy. His eyelids grew heavy. His head drooped. Must be destroyed before they destroy man. Must. Poor fellow, completely exhausted. Accounts for some of the wild talk. Why disturb him? He can sleep where he is. Click. I could use some sleep myself. But in the dark hours before dawn, all sleep suddenly ended. Aye! The den! Dr. Hahn! Dressing quickly, Wheeler grabbed his revolver and plunged downstairs to the den. Good Lord! The chair's slashed to ribbons! Blood all over, but where's Dr. Hahn? Stains of bright crimson trailed out of the room. Overcoming a sense of dread, Wheeler followed them. It's the work of a madman! A maniac! Seems to lead to the cellar. Better get a light from the lab. That place is crawling with rats. Won't hurt to take the new poison. That wasn't here yesterday. Bloodstains go right to it. A tunnel. Cramped, but whoever carried off Dr. Hahn used it. So can I. This will stop our furry friends getting in or out. With a maniac on the loose, I don't want to bother with rats also. The air was damp and musty. The crumbling walls covered with slime. Only the brilliant red of the bloodstains under the flashlight beam was fresh. Looks to be hundreds of years old. Who could have built this, and why? Trail leads off to the right, certainly making it easy for me to follow. Maybe I should have a look at that other tunnel. No! Blam! Blam! Shots scatter the rest of them. This'll fix it so they don't come back. They almost got me. Have to be more careful. Tunnels are so strange, much larger than I expected, but I've gone nearly a mile. Time slowly passed as Ed Wheeler went deeper and deeper into the increasingly elaborate system of tunnels. What a complex. If it wasn't for this trail. Better block off these other tunnels before going on. That's it. Less of Dr. Hahn's formula. Much closer quarters. Have to crawl. Strange. This tunnel's newer. Dirt's fresh and loose. Getting narrower yet. Must be coming to the end. Round this bend. Yeah! Vermin! Filthy, rotten vermin! Bam, 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 bam! Too late, Wheeler realizes the effect of his gunshots on the loose earth of the tunnel. He whirled quickly to start back the way he came. Too late! Yeah! Wheeler spit dust and dirt as his vision cleared. He was looking back down the tunnel, at least that part of it, which wasn't at the moment piled on his back. That sound! What's that sound? Coming this way! Squealing! Squeak, 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 squeak! Panic seized him. He fought, strained, struggled. Only his head could move. The poison. I blocked off every tunnel with it. There's only one clear path. The one leading here. Lord, no, I'm caught. Caught! Squeak, 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 squeak! The squirming, squealing sea of red eyes and slashing teeth clawed their way toward Wheeler, whose last thought on Earth was of an old, oft-used saying, like a rat in a trap. Squeak, 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 squeak! Now, isn't that a rattling experience? Ed was overwhelmed by the whole thing, and you'll be overwhelmed by my next bit of repulsive rot. Your own Mystery Man mask. You can get all those. Gorilla Monster, Lagoon Monster, Cyclops. They sell those every Halloween. And they don't look as good as this. Yeah, I'm talking about the new ones. If you look at some of the new ones, they don't look as good as these do in the images. I'm not saying they looked that good back in the times, but according to these images, they look pretty good compared to the ones they sell now. Unearth some fun. creepyuniverse.com. Wow, well that wasn't a thing back in the day. Perk up your pointed little ears, rabbit readers. That weird wail you hear isn't a fire engine. It's something far more terrible. Better hang on to your marbles. You don't want to lose them as we pay a visit to an insane asylum where you'll meet the incredible Shrieking Man. Yeah! Completely unreclaimable. Been like this for 10 years. Homicidally violent. Responds to no type of treatment. Perhaps experimental drugs. My specialty. You know that, Colbert. Absolutely no effect. None. I think he meant to say Colbert. You're the acknowledged master, Dr. Mandrill. To work under you is the main reason I took this post, though a state asylum seems obscure for a man of your talents. I don't crave the limelight. This suits my needs fine. Ooh, that's Steve Ditko. You've seen the whole layout now, Colbert. If you'll excuse me, I have a funeral to attend. Funeral? Inmate died. No kin. We have a potter's field just off the grounds. As director, I have to be there. Then I'll spend time with patients' records. Dr. Colbert was young, eager, and dedicated. A casual check developed into a late-night study. Can't forget about that patient. No name, no background. Picked up on a rampage, confined ever since, shrieking and screaming. If only I could do something. Surely the possibilities aren't exhausted. Whew, I can use a break. Lord, what's that? Someone's prowling around down there. Driving curiosity had pushed Colbert toward success at a young age, and outweighed any other emotion, even fear. Whoever it was seems to be gone now. What the devil were they doing here in the first place? Earth around this one looks fresh, as though someone might have... Idiot, of course it's fresh. They just buried a man today. Suppressing a feeling of foolishness, Colbert turned in the chill night air and started back. Looks like a light at Mandrill's place. Long as he's up, maybe I'll check with him. A light frost made the grass crunched underfoot. Night noises seemed to have ceased. Then, the underbrush became alive with the snapping of twigs and branches. Something was rushing towards Colbert with speed and frenzy. Ah! Colbert's knees buckled, his body sagged. The screaming horror from the shadows slashed and clawed at him like some crazed animal. He was going under. Throbbing aches and pains drove Colbert's mind back to consciousness. You were apparently attacked by a grave robber. The corpse of the man we buried yesterday was found lying on top of its grave. Just before I was attacked, there was a horrible shriek from the direction of your house. Basement light was on. My laboratory. I was experimenting. I heard no sound. Scream was amazingly similar to the poor wretch we've got. I'd like to run some tests, various drugs perhaps. Colbert, I know how you feel. 10 years ago, under the old director Hutchins, I felt the same way. But I know best. That man is hopeless, bestial. Anything to be done for him, I've tried. I want him left alone, you understand? Leave him alone. But Colbert had theories. Theories he would not leave untested. Biding his time, he waited until... Dr. Mandrell always gave strict orders not to mess with this guy. That's a real wild animal in there. Mandrell's in town tonight. I'm in charge. Get this patient up to my lab. The maniac was uncontrollable. Nearly an hour had passed before the man was strapped down in the lab, his horrendous cries ringing in Colbert's ears as he prepared the injection. No record that Mandrell ever tried the LSH-90. It's powerful and effective, almost standard in extreme cases. Why hasn't he used it? If we're ever going to know, it'll be now. The writhing and screaming stopped. The tortured face softened. The wild glaze of the eyes momentarily faded. Mandrell, for God's sake, don't. It's murder. It's working. But what? The moment of lucidity faded as quickly as the drug itself on the raging, straining Hulk. No! The violent wave of animal madness surged over Colbert, dragging him down, leaving a wake of destruction. He's escaped. Lord, what have I done? Why didn't I listen to Mandrell? One pain-racked step after the other, Colbert willed his feet across the ground. Maybe he's back. Gotta warn him. Why'd he have to go into town tonight? Inside, the house was empty and silent, except for a slight buzzing in the back of Colbert's mind. Obituaries. He circled one. A man buried today. He was in the cemetery that night. The trace of a sound came from the basement. Colbert staggered downwards, somehow expecting what he was to find. Ghoul! Are these the kind of experiments you conduct? Colbert, you prying fool! Inflicting torment on the dead? You toy with drugs to free minds. I perfect a serum to restore life, reanimate dead flesh. Life? You call those shrieking, tortured things life? They want the piece of the grave. They fight to get back to it, like that frenzied soul in the padded cell for 10 years. You mean Hutchins? My former superior? My stupid employer? My greatest success? He outlived the others. The sooner you inject the serum, the better, since I killed him. He was much handier. Just as you'll be, Colbert. You may even share the same padded cell. Hutchins been out of the cell for some time, Mandrell. No! Gia! The echo of the insane shrieking ran through the old house as a revenge-driven dead thing plunged toward its tormentor. Mercifully, Colbert collapsed as Mandrell's screams joined the din. A stream of sunlight on his face caused Colbert to stir. Morning. What happened to them? He searched the house, finding nothing, then stepped outside. Crowd gathered. Should I look? Do I really want to see? Dr. Colbert could not stop his feet nor his eyes. At last Hutchins had found the piece he'd screamed 10 years for, sharing it with Mandrell, whose death-frozen face would shriek for eternity. Rather a grave ending, but at least Mandrell got something to shout about, if he isn't too choked up. Now take on my next terror tale. It's a scream. The cool autumn wind sweeps through the 15th century night. Dry leaves rattle across the ground and barren tree limbs bend low as though crouching in fear. Hardly a time to take a stroll, eh, ghoulish glancers? Few emotions could drive a man across the lonely landscape towards the crumbling ruins of a chateau now wreathed with foreboding, perhaps only one such as undying love. That it should come to this, a man of my wealth and position consorting with a sorcerer. The rotting oak door is unlatched as though a visitor were expected from within the cackles. Excuse me, we'll try that one again. The rotting oak door is unlatched as though a visitor were expected from within. Comes the cackle of an old man's laugh, the putrescent odor of boiling herbs, ointments, and other ingredients too fearful to think on. So, Count Ronaldo, you grow tired of the fair Esmeralda's rejections. You are ready for my help? She spurns my love. Perhaps she will succumb to your spells. As your gold is in my palm, so shall love for you be in Esmeralda's heart. Your eyes will not see your we'll try that one again. Her eyes will not see your plainness. Her lips will speak only devotion, until the gold is spent and your wizardry fades. The spell is binding. Once made, it cannot be broken. Ah, you've brought a portrait and a lock of her hair. We can begin. Voxoth rathem noboth gom regthoth osam lupt. 'Tis done. Ride to her, quickly, claim her now. She's yours forever. Count Ronaldo spurs his horse into the night, thundering into the courtyard, unable to delay, claiming the prize sorcery is won for him. The Lady Esmeralda, I must see her at once. But surely, my lord, knew one last night mysterious death took our daughter from us. She was buried this afternoon. The count hears no more, but turns and rides. Rage pulses through him with the rhythm of the horse's pounding hooves. He must see that which has cheated him, must face the grave that has robbed him of Esmeralda's love. Gravekeeper, the plot of Lady Esmeralda. Which one? Dolt, can't you hear me? Where is she dead? These strange wounds on his neck. The smell of freshly dug earth stabs at Ronaldo's nostrils, causing a tingling among the fine hairs on the back of his neck. Her grave, broken open, as though the very soil had been pushed out of it. My lord, at last you've come. Esmeralda, you were killed by a vampire, and you've become one yourself. Pray do not deny me, Ronaldo. My love waits for you. The spell works too late. We've been too long separated, each moment in agony. Be kind, my lord. Accept my devotion. Back, creature. I'll not die from a vampire's kiss. I could not harm you, Ronaldo. My love is too great. I want only to serve you, be near you. Please, Ronaldo, please. It's true, I'm safe under the spell. She can't hurt me. A vampire never ages. She'll never grow old, never cease to be beautiful. It was more than he'd hoped for, a completely devoted wife of unfading loveliness. There was nothing to fear. Like a man fulfilling a dream, the Count makes the necessary preparations for his new bride. Here she can rest safely through the day. Nights will be ours. Life is not the ideal that Ronaldo had planned. Esmeralda's devotion cannot prevent her being what she is, cannot prevent nightly sojourns of disgusting purpose. I'm back, my darling. It seems so long. I have missed you so. Is the rest of my life to be spent this way, knowing the blood-stained caress of a monster, enduring the icy touch of the undead? Nearly dawn. If only I didn't have to leave. I can't bear being away from you. I must have been mad. This must cease today. When the sun is at its zenith, Count Ronaldo makes his way down into the dank and gloom of his castle's catacombs, down to the finely carved casket wherein sleeps the Lady Esmeralda. Death comes hard to a vampire. First by the stake, then by the axe. Done. Head and body buried in different locations. The ritual is over. I'm free. The night is windy and chill, alive with noises. A praying owl swoops and screeches. Horses snort nervously in their stable. Timbers creak and moan. A latch suddenly clicks. Who's that? Is someone there? Speak. Why Don't you speak! No, no! Ronaldo, my love, at last we're together! I've missed you so! The Count's shattering scream cannot drive out the cackling words vibrating inside him, the words of the sorcerer. The spell is binding. Once made, it cannot be broken. I'll never leave you, Ronaldo. I'm yours forever! Yeah! Touching reunion. I hope the three of them will be very happy together. The family might even grow if Ronaldo starts cutting up again. Although Esmeralda seems the kind of girl who can piece things together. Now why don't you piece together the next plot in my monstrous mag? Searching for another gory story for your fans? Let me be your ghoul guide into the uncharted waters of the weird as we go exploring for excitement and end up on the island at World's End. Easy does it, lads. He's near frozen stiff. Log of the Celtic. Or maybe it is Celtic. I'm not sure if we're talking the basketball team or the Celts here. Whaler out of New Bedford. March the 3rd, 1841. Driven hundreds of miles south of shipping lanes by storm while rounding Cape, uncharted waters, desolate and icebound, we've encountered someone whose fates have been far worse. He was a large man and strong. To have been less, he would have been dead. Ain't natural adrift in an open boat in waters like these. March 6th, our passenger is recovering today for the first time. He could answer questions. Name Sturgis, sir. First mate of the Prodigal. Least I was. We were 2 years out of Salem when the trouble hit. Worst sort of trouble on a whaling ship. Mutiny! The captain was killed, and we 3 remaining officers set adrift with few supplies. I managed to sneak off my pistol. In time we became animals, raging for survival. The open boat, our jungle. For the others, reason failed. For me, the pistol didn't. Blam! Then began the awful drifting, slowly, steadily south. South toward unknown waters. South toward ice and silence. South towards the bottom of the world. Bundled in the clothing of dead men, living meagerly on their food shares, I drifted. But even drifting things can reach a destination, and so I reached the island. Cold, desolate, lonely, like a last stop before eternity. Not much, but all that was left me, I began to explore. My search for signs of life led me to other signs of death. Bones looked to have been gnawed by some kind of animal. Skulls appear. Human! Roar! Pacow! I've seen the wildest savages of our western plains and the great apes of Africa's jungles. This was neither, and it was both. But there was no time for curiosity, and no chance to use the pistol again. Shrieking and screaming with beast-like ferocity, they charged. A hairy, obscene tide swept over. My last thought was of the gnawed white bones beneath my feet. Fumes of sulfur and prickles of heat forced my swirling mind to consciousness. I'm inside of the mountain. Or is it a volcano? Those things I was fighting must have left me here. Why? My pistol was thrown in with me, yet I drew little comfort from it. Don't like these idols. Make the ledge look like a place of sacrifice. Down below, something stirring. Impossible. How can she... Yeah! What the mind cannot comprehend, it sometimes shuts out. Only a melodic, soft voice pulled me from the black barrier it had thrown up. I went forth for a sacrifice, but find instead a prince. I am Scythilla, lass of the great elder race, high priestess of dread Shoggoth. Ruins of an old city, hidden away in this mountain. It was not always so. The great wars, the mighty snows. We were driven underground, some remained, degenerated into beasts, the hairy ones above. They adapted while your people died out down here. While I live, the elders may live. Long have I prayed to Shoggoth for one to share my destiny, my throne, my life. Her eyes locked with mine, peering deep. Suddenly I could no longer see anything but her, Scythilla. The elder race shall thrive again. But something dark clouded my feelings, made me uneasy. Deep, could reach straight into hell. Your dread is of Shoggoth, and herein he dwells fearful and mighty. The hairy ones still sacrifice to him, but Shoggoth knows the chosen ones. This you must learn. Scythilla, the well. She did not fall. How could she, nestled in the palm of that obscenity as when I first saw her? Join me. Do not be afraid. Show great Shoggoth his priestess now has a priest. Come, now. Again, our eyes locked, and again, God forbid, I obeyed. Now we traveled up, in the grip of that nebulous monstrosity. But my thoughts were only of the soft figure at my side, my queen, my Scythilla. Shoggoth was denied when I found you. He aches for fulfillment. All the hairy ones have anticipated. They know better than to disappoint him. Ay-ya! This time, no merciful feint obliterated my vision. This time I saw all. Feast, Shoggoth, feast! Reap the sweets of your greatness. Feast, all-powerful God! Different as it was a human creature. How can she find such joy? Even as I leapt, I knew it was no accident. The man-creatures placed me on the ledge, left me the pistol. I'll be no part of a life like this. In the thunder of the weapon, they had seen a glimmer of hope against Shoggoth, even as I desperately did. Shoggoth, bring him back to me. Bacow! But it was not the behemoth that fell. I did not hear her scream, nor did I look back in my frantic scramble for freedom. Behind me a mournful wail rose and pitched to a dreadful rumble. Fear drove my legs down that slope of rock and ice. Nothing broke my flight. What had been a rumble split through the air, now like an explosion. In his grief and rage, was Shoggoth breaking free of the crater? As I reached the boat, no desire moved me to see. I pushed off, preferring the slow, freezing death ahead to the monstrous insanity that stormed behind. Do you believe, Captain? Can these things have happened to me? I believe the mind of a freezing, slowly dying man can make anything possible. You should rest. After days adrift, I thought that too, but I keep seeing her in my eyes. Excuse me, let's try that one again, guys. After days adrift, I thought that too, but I keep seeing her eyes, locked deep in mine, promising a world, Scythilla. March 10th, Sturgis is recovered, yet he prowls the decks moody and quiet, staring at the sea as though looking for something. Man, you've got to get a hold of yourself, you. She blows! She blows! That's no whale's spout, it's steam, mist, getting closer. He's come. I knew he must. Scythilla! Sturgis! No! You fool! Despite the horror, he died silently. Later the crew liked to think he did it to save the ship. No matter. But in the only way left him, Sturgis had gone back to Scythilla. What happened to good old Shoggoth? No one knows. He was never caught. But if he is, you can rest assured it will be red-handed. And you'll be red-faced if you miss my next issue. Okay, guys. That's all we have for this week. November's not over yet. And we can do another horror comic. But that's all we got for Eerie. We'll probably be bringing you more Eerie sometime in December. But we'll be doing Creepy. And then we'll be doing the Vampirella. And then we'll be doing Eerie again. So yeah, you guys see how I got it working out. Now I should probably be doing Creepy, Eerie, Vampirella, but I'm doing it a little weird. I don't know. It is what it is, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Had some issues here and there, but we always do. And I notice you guys are really checking out my channel because I'm looking at the stats and I'm like, wow, you guys have listened to thousands of hours of me. So if you are listening to me as like a podcast or something, that's awesome. Because, yeah, that's how some of you guys do it. And you're getting a taste of the classic horror. There's nothing more classic than these books, guys. And I mean it as far as horror comics. There's nothing more classic in the world of horror than these books. I mean, look at what they're advertising in here. I mean, this is pre-VHS. They're talking 8mm film strips. That's way, way, way back in the day. Like, you had to buy a full film strip and a projector to be able to watch a movie back in the day. And it was pretty much a novelty, kind of. So, alright, guys, this is the Grim Lord, and we will see you guys next time with more great horror comics. Remember, we're bringing back Creepy next week, so stay tuned for that. And Power Rangers tomorrow. I'm out.